Magnus.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another Magnus's Loot Crate. I am your host, as always, Magnus Deacon. Now, I know this is yet another rambling about Legends figures, but I thought it was necessary just out of the fact that not many people are familiar with Legends figures. So, this is a loot for beginners that's kind of just to give you an idea of the companies that make Legends figures and the sort of things you can expect. Now, I grabbed this guy right here. I talked about him in the last video. This is Lord Scorpion from, Iron Factory. Now, he's not really a huge bot. I know he's supposed to be a city bot, but really, that's not city bot size as far as I'm concerned. I mean, Titan's Return Triptychon, which I have, it would fit that build better. But just so you can see, I can flip the top of his head open here, and he's got a tiny little headmaster in there, so they did get that part right as far as I'm concerned. Now, this is just going to be a quick crash course. I mean, quick as I can be most of the time. It shouldn't be a very horribly long video, but just to give you an idea of these wee little bots that transform and do all the things we love them to do. Just in the interest of that, this is going to be just an introduction to third-party Legends companies. So with that out of the way, let's dive right in. Now folks, I know you saw this cartoon in the last video, but I had to throw it in because really it's sort of a running gag with people who are into collecting the third-party Legends. Now, I don't know who did this edit on the Shin Comics version, but it's definitely a good one. And here's where we get into, these are the third-party makers that we have. First of all, I'm just going to start with the top. We have Magic Square, which is one of my favorite companies. Honestly, I have to admit, they are one. So far, they're actually my favorite out of all of them. But that doesn't stop me from liking Iron Factory, which they, like I said before, they do more stylized sort of IDW comic-based bots. You'll see that when I show, what they have. I'm going to show some of my collection. Now, I don't have pictures of all of them, much to my chagrin, but I do have enough to get things kind of rolling. Next, we have New Age, which is, they're sort of an up-and-comer as far as I can tell. Of course, Magic Square, I don't think they've been around that long. They've made one masterpiece size bot, and that was Light of Freedom. But New Age, as far as I can tell, they're a little more recent, I would say, than Magic Square or Iron Factory. Because Iron Factory and Magic Square are starting to get those availability problems I've discussed before, where they've been out long enough that they're really hard to get, really hard to find, and if you luck out and find one on eBay, mazel tov. But therein lies the rub. Now, Mech Fans Toys, though, down there in the middle, I think they kind of started as the KO oversized Legends, and that's another thing I'll need to get into before I really start, is kind of the KO, not just KO oversized, but the fact that there's Legends Minus, Legends, and Legends Plus. So if you don't want to have scaling issues, make sure which one you're going for. Now this is a new one that just crossed my radar not too long ago. It's Mechanic Studio. Now they're coming out with gears. His name is like Rock, R-O-C-K-E, so I don't know if it's Rocky. I'm not sure what the pronunciation is. But he is a rather nice version of Gears from what I can tell, and I'm hoping to hell, because I've already ordered him, I'm hoping to hell he scales well with my bots. We'll find out. But the problem, and here's another problem, in the Legend sphere there are some very noticeable gaps in the collections, but I'll talk about that, briefly toward the end. Next up we have Papa Toys. Now that's their logo. I had to add in the Papa Toys bit because I only have one of their bots, and that is my Legend Scale Hot Rod. I'm not going to show a picture of him because I thought I had a picture somewhere of him in his bot mode and his car mode, but I couldn't find it. I'll have to do a deep dive into my stuff later and see if I can locate it, but we'll worry about that later. So, and then we have Pocket Toys. Now they do DX9 KOs as far as I'm understanding, which I do have a few of theirs. Now you guys have already seen my Megotron. He's a Pocket Toys version of, well actually no, he's Mech Fan Toys. I'm sorry, I misspoke. The Pocket Toys ones that I know of, I've only really got a set and one by himself. You'll see those later. Now that's just me showing from the companies from my collection. Now I don't have any Mechanic Studios yet, and I've only got one Papa Toys figure, so I'm not really going to worry about showing them. I'm just going to mainly go into it and show you just the companies. Now first off, here we have my Magic Square bots, since they are my favorites. As you can see, I'm just going to rattle them off. You got Blaster, Ultra Magnus, got Huffer, Beachcomber, Trailbreaker. Now, these two are kind of a A and B sort of situation. They treat them like a repaint. It's Grappling Inferno. And then here's the thing. The last one on the end, their version of Sea Spray came in a 2-pack with Beachcomber. So, now they're fairly cheap. I'm not gonna lie. I couldn't fit all of my Magic Square bots on this sheet, but this is enough to give you an idea. These are, they're representations of these characters, and really they don't have too many more other than these, other than I believe a Cyclonus, Sideswipe, and I forgot his name, Sideswipe, and Red Alert. Now they do have a repaint of Blaster, but that's like their twin cast, I guess is his name, the blue version of Blaster, and he comes with Steeljaw. Now I do have him somewhere in the truck, but I only bought him to get Steeljaw. I know, $30 for a little teeny weeny tape figure, but to me it was worth it. And so whoever boxed him accidentally put both tapes in with him, so if I sell him, he does come with a tape. He just comes with a ram on. But anyway, as you can, if you look at him, now I've seen reviewers like Bobby Skullface. He's not really into the Legends scene, but every time he reviews one, he's all glowing about it. That should give you an idea of how well made they are. If somebody who's big on Masterpiece like Bobby Skullface can sing the praises of these bots, you can kind of understand why I'd be into, ooh, look, Bobby Skullface is reviewing another Magic Square figure. Let's go take a look. But now let's go ahead and move on to the next set, which is Iron Factory. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Now, I said these were stylized more in the IDW look. Of course, you can see old Lord Scorpion over there in the corner with his 3 modes, base, bot, and Scorpion. But these are some of the other bots from my collection. Now, down below me, you can see the Megatron, the Tyrant figure that I picked up. That's the 2 pictures of him and sort of a, I forget the names of all of them, but it's like a Destroyer Megatron, all hell Megatron look. He has like interchangeable shoulder pads, shins, hips. He's got like 3 or 4 different, fusion cannons on him. Now the Megatron look that I went for, is the G1 Megatron, but here's the thing. If you put the back piece on him for the G1 Megatron, he cannot transform because he doesn't have his treads. And so his back piece is either going to be his gun barrel from G1 or a set of treads. Those are the only two back pieces. I think the rest of the Megatrons, except for like one, was a tank, and I think the one that wasn't is I want to say it was some sort of stealth bomber. Like I've said before, I don't read the comics. That's just me. But that doesn't mean I don't recognize the figures and can't appreciate the more stylized look. Now, you've seen Windblade in the last video. She's one of my favorites. She's actually got one of the simplest transformations of these sets of bots. But then you've also got Phantom, their version of Mirage. And he looks very nice. I mean, even in bot mode. And he's got the teeny weeny little shoulder cannon and everything. Now, one thing I didn't mention in the last video, and it was probably something I should have brought up, Iron Factory and a couple other companies have gotten into the habit of adding extra hands where you got the closed fist, the open hand to hold a weapon, spread fingers so you can kind of, hold up the gun and throw the hand out and pose it. Cygnus over there, he's one of those. He comes with like, I want to say 4 sets of hands all total. Yeah, like I said, the open hand to hold a weapon, the closed fist, the spread hand. Now, the only hands that'll work with his transformation, unfortunately, are the open hands that you put his weapons in. I think his entire transformation, well, for that part, was built into it. Now, all the red stuff is removable. Everything on him that you see as red is removable. Now, I did get the Toy Hacks, the repro labels for it. But this is like him, like right after I got him. Now, also, over on the end, underneath the company logo, Shrike's Feather over there. Now, she is very nice. She's the smallest of their Seeker bots. Now, I kind of like it. It kind of, she's one of the few female Seekers that they have. But still, that figure's very nice, and it's got a neat little transformation. I do like it a lot. Now, underneath Windblade, Phantom, and Cygnus, that is their version of Warpath. That is Burning Slug. Now, he's one of the few that I have that's just a little too stylized for my taste. I'd rather have him look more like the G1 Warpath, but even so, even if some other company does come out with a Warpath that looks more G1, I'll still keep him because I really like him. He's got a bit of a complex transformation, but it's still a lot of fun. And about every part of all the attachments and add-ons incorporate into his transformation, whether it be to hide in open space or whatever. So that is Iron Factory stuff. Now we're gonna move on. Now this is a company that I think sort of started, I want to say, as a KO oversized of making KO oversized of DX9 bots, to be honest. This is Mech Fans Toys. Now, Mech Fans Toys, these are bots that I have. You see the Dinobots right there. Now, when I ordered Swoop, he came with the toy version chest, the red look, and that's not really my thing with Swoop. Now, I did get DX9's version called Skyr, but I think he's a little small. But considering what Swoop is, a pterodactyl, honestly, I don't think I would have an issue with him scaling being a little smaller than the other Dinobots, just because of Swoop being the type of dinosaur he is. Now, over on the other side of him, or these guys, is that Sharkticon I mentioned. Now, I do have a picture of the leader version somewhere, but this, you get 2 of those, and then one leader looking one who's, his tail ball is gold, and his gun has gold on it. like around the eyes and the purple bits on the face are more translucent purple. And he looks different from the other two. But now, that being said, they do fit. I think they would fit with honestly, I think they would fit with a Masterpiece collection too. So, now Mech Fans Toys is what I was mentioning when I said like Legends Plus. Although Huge Dragon here, he does scale very well with the other Legends bots. So, I don't think he's an oversized KO. I think he may actually be an original. I don't know. Don't sue me if I'm wrong. But as far as the Legends Plus goes now, old Springer down there, he is sort of a Legends Plus size. And you see, he's got the 3 modes. He's got his helicopter, his bot, and his vehicle mode. Very simplistic sort of transformation, but it is nice. It's fun. It's fun to play with. Now over there, down in the bottom corner, those are my 3 versions of Galvatron, Scourge, and Cyclonus. Those are the Mech Fans Toys versions. Now they are bigger than the originals, the DX9 version, and I'll show you a picture right here. That is my DX9 version of Cyclonus with the Mech Fans Toys version. A little bit of a size difference, as you can see. But still, it seems like I'm having to go sort of oversized KO with them anyway. Now, I do have Hot Rod from Papa Toys, but Mech Fans Toys is apparently coming out with a Hot Rod Rodimus Prime combo. So, I may have gone in the right direction anyway. That's a heads up for those of you who may be thinking very seriously about getting Mech Fans Toys bots of your own. Now we're going to move on here. These are the ones I have fewer pictures of. Here are my New Age bots. Now I only have 3, but I do love them immensely. As you can see, I've got the Wee Bee right underneath me. We got Monero, their version of Jazz, and we've got I think he's called Mini Kong now, or Max Green. They changed his name somewhere before they released him, so sorry if I don't remember his name. I think they changed it to Max Green, but don't hold me to that. I think he was originally Mini Kong, and then a lot of places changed his name to Max Green. So if that's what you're looking for, now these fall into the category of Legends Minus as far as I know. Now him being Legends Minus, I don't think that screws with the scaling too much with your collection, but I kind of worry about Monero just because he's a car bot. Now I have already ordered from Magic Square the Dotson Brothers. It's a set of 3. It was $75, so basically $25 per bot. They're coming out with Prowl, Blue Streak, and Smokescreen. So I have them on order. Hopefully he won't scale too badly with those guys. Keeping my fingers crossed, but we'll see what happens there. And last but not least, to show you, here are my Pocket Toys bots. Now I should have thrown Megotron in on this group, but I didn't. I don't think he's actually Pocket Toys. I think he's Mech Fans Toys, but that's neither here nor there. This will give you an idea. This is the Seekers I've got. Starscream, Skywarp, and Thundercracker, the basic 3. Now I do have DX9's version of the cone heads, and they are the exact same size, so I have to admit I was kind of lucky to find that Pocket Toys had a version of these, because I got these 3 for $45. To be totally honest with you. Now I will probably get rid of those and sell them to somebody when I get the Magic Square version, and I wouldn't feel right about selling them for more than $30 with plus shipping. So $35 and whatever the shipping is. But if anybody's interested in them when I finally get the Magic Square versions, let me know. I'll sell them to you. If you're thinking about Legends and you want to just check them out. Now these 3 aren't the greatest representations, I will admit. because their heads are on like a little sliding mechanism there, and they have a hard time posing. So I wouldn't suggest these if you really like the posability, but if you just want them to have on a shelf for the heck of it, yeah, I mean, because their plane modes look really good, and everything folds up and puts away, and even the tail fins that come out to the sides on the back of the plane, those even fold up and slide together on their backs. So they do have a really nice transformation. These were early versions though of Legends bots, so they're kind of what I would consider prototypes. The engineering wasn't that great, but they still look good and they still fulfill that function. Now this is my Soundwave, and this is the first time I'd ever seen the tiny little tapes in his chest, and I have to admit it was kind of surprising to see those, but they worked out very, very well, and they're tiny. I'll give them that. They're small. So this is just a crash course. Now I think there are some Legends companies that I don't know about or may have forgotten. But if you're going for the main companies, if you just want to stick with, because now they all have a kind of a funky release schedule. Mech Fans Toys is coming out with their version of Hound, so's Iron Factory. And I don't remember, like they released a whole bunch at one time, but I'll talk about that in the final thoughts. Now, as far as the Legends bots go, they do sort of kind of follow a similar sort of release schedule as the third-party Masterpiece type figures, which is good and bad in a lot of ways. But at the same time, they are a lot cheaper, and they don't take up as much space on a shelf, to be totally honest with you. Like I've said before, you could probably just create a giant workbench over in the corner somewhere, and like build like you would with a train, like you would with a train set, a scale train set, model trains. You could build little towns and have them stomp through the towns, have Triptychon from Titan's Return, his big old butt stomping through a town like Godzilla. But that is that's kind of the crux of it. That's the basic information you really need to know on Legends figures. The biggest thing to remember with Legends figures is they do feel a lot cheaper and a lot more toyish, but they are a lot cheaper than the main companies that make Masterpiece. There's very little die cast, if any. They're mostly just harder plastics, and they're more what I would consider play ready as far as that goes. Now, like I said, they kind of got a release schedule similar. They do in fits and spurts and dirts and farts with their figures. Like Iron Factory's coming out with their version of Hound, like I mentioned before. Mech Fans Toys is coming out with one, and then Iron Factory came out with Hex Wrench, is coming out, or has already come out with their version of Wheeljack Hex Wrench. And then Toy World came out with a Legends version of Wheeljack, which I have to admit, the level of detail they put on the sponsor logos on the car mode, oh Christ. I mean, it just, you can plainly see each and every logo, and he's very good looking. I'll see if I can find a picture of him and put it up over here somewhere so you can see it. But as far as that goes, that's everything you really need to know about Legends figures. Now, if your price range is more, I'm going to say $25 to $75, because I purchased Magic Square's Light of Justice, their Legend-sized version of MSO1 Light of Freedom. He was $48, and we're talking truck, trailer, roller, his little axe hand, and a few bits and bobs that come with him. Uh, Iron Factory's Tyrant, he was $65 if I remember right. But he comes with like alternate heads and all kinds of accessories, and he's even got a little Dark Star sword, or whatever the hell that was. Really, the most expensive Legends figure I have is Lord Scorpion. He was about $74.99 if I remember right, and that was on TF Source. He could be a little cheaper at other places. But yeah, like I said, if you're just kind of tight on a budget, or if you just if you want figures that you could actually play with your kids with and kind of get them started on their own collection, that could be the kids collection. You don't want to be blowing hundreds of dollars on them to have the masterpiece figures, but you can get the Legends figures. Those will easily fit on their shelf in their bedroom, and they can play with them without too much hassle, other than the fact that the weapons are really small and easy to lose. But that's going to pretty much do it on Legends figures. Hopefully you got something out of this video. Like, share, and subscribe. And if you feel like throwing me a few dollars so I can actually do some giveaways on this channel, subscribe. Go to Subscribestar, Magnus's Loot Crate, or visit my PayPal, magnusdeacon@gmail.com. With that all being said, I hope you learned something. I hope this helped you out. Maybe you'll get a kick out of the Legends figures like I did once you buy your first one and actually get into it. And like that little cartoon said, nobody who goes in ever comes out, unless you're just lucky and just like, yeah, I've got a couple of these figures, I just really don't like them. And if you don't, that's fine. But anybody really truly big on Transformers collecting, I think you really get a kick out of them, because they are really nice, despite what you may think, despite how they look. They are really nice figures. But with that all being said, I will see you next time.